The Silent Victory. The story opens 10 years after humanity's devastating victory in the Great Galactic War. Commander Jake Rivers sits in his retirement cabin on Luna Colony, watching news reports about the latest alien delegation begging Earth for trade agreements. The irony isn't lost on him. The same species that once called humans primitive apes now prostrate themselves before human diplomats. The narrative shifts to the Galactic Council chambers on Station Nexus Prime. Ambassador Tom Blake, a former human soldier, watches as the reptilian Scalix representative literally trembles while requesting permission to establish a mining operation in human-controlled space. Other council members, the towering Gorons, the insectoid hive queens, the ethereal voidlings, all avert their eyes when Blake speaks. Through flashbacks, we learn the war began when the Galactic Alliance dismissed humanity's application for membership, calling them too violent and unpredictable. When humans persisted, the Alliance decided to make an example of them. They attacked Earth's outer colonies, expecting easy victory over the backwards mammals. They were wrong. The chapter reveals through alien perspectives how humans fought differently. While other species had rules of engagement, concepts of honor, and predictable tactics, humans were chaos incarnate. They used psychological warfare, guerrilla tactics, and most terrifyingly, they adapted faster than any species in recorded history. The Hive Queen Zora recalls the Battle of Titan, where human forces somehow turned the Hive's own bioweapons against them. The Goron General Marcus remembers how humans infiltrated their impenetrable fortress worlds by simply thinking like the enemy better than the enemy thought like themselves. But it wasn't just military prowess. Humans showed a disturbing willingness to sacrifice everything for victory. When the Alliance blockaded Earth, humans didn't surrender. They became more dangerous. They turned their entire civilization into a war machine, every human a potential weapon. The chapter ends with Ambassador Blake receiving a message. Another species, the proud Stellar Dominion, has requested an audience. They want to surrender territories they've held for millennia, just to avoid potential conflict with humanity. The war ended a decade ago, but its shadow still shapes galactic politics. The Whispered Legends. Dr. Lisa Wong, a human xenoanthropologist, travels to the remote world of Kepler 442 bits to study how alien cultures have mythologized the war. What she discovers disturbs her. Humans aren't remembered as heroes or villains. They're remembered as forces of nature, like storms or plagues. The local aquatic species, the Deepkin, show her their new religious texts. Humans appear not as beings, but as divine instruments of chaos. Children are told cautionary tales about the void walkers who can survive in space longer than should be possible, who turn technology into weapons faster than computers can calculate. In the crystal caves of the silicon-based Rockin, Lisa finds carvings depicting the war. But the humans in these artworks are abstract, faceless figures surrounded by broken chains and shattered worlds. An elderly Rockin elder, Stone Who Remembers, explains that they cannot bear to give human forms detail in their art. It would make the nightmares too real. The narrative follows Lisa as she interviews various species. Each has developed their own explanation for human impossibility. The logical cybernetics believe humans are artificial intelligences pretending to be organic, because no natural species could be so adaptable. The spiritual astral monks think humans are fragments of a destroyed war god, explaining their innate violence and tactical genius. The collective-minded swarm theorizes that humans are actually millions of microorganisms sharing a single consciousness, making them unpredictable to telepathic races. Lisa visits a former POW camp where alien veterans gather. Here, she meets Captain Rex Stone, a human Marine who stayed behind to help with refugee rehabilitation. The aliens treat him with a mixture of respect and terror that makes Lisa uncomfortable. They speak to him in whispers, never make direct eye contact, and offer gifts like he's a sleeping dragon they're afraid to wake. An old Tendrillian veteran, Twist of Wind, shares his story of being captured by humans. He expected torture, death, or slavery. Instead, the humans studied him, learned his language in days, understood his culture better than he did within weeks, and then released him with medical care better than his own species provided. This kindness, he explains, was more terrifying than any torture, because it proved humans chose their violence deliberately. The chapter climaxes when Lisa visits the Memorial Museum on Galactica Prime, built by the Alliance to honor war dead. She's shocked to find that the human section is visited by more aliens than any other. They come not to pay respects, but to try to understand what they survived. Parents bring children to teach them caution. Military leaders study tactical displays, still trying to comprehend human strategy. The curator, an elderly ethereal named Wisplight, explains, "Your species didn't just win a war. You changed the fundamental assumptions of galactic civilization. Before humans, we thought we understood the limits of biological intelligence, the boundaries of tactical thinking, the nature of sacrifice. Your people proved we understood nothing." The New Order. 5 years after the war's end, President Mary Cross addresses the United Earth Assembly. The topic, how to manage humanity's unwanted reputation as the galaxy's apex predators. Economic reports show alien species paying premium prices for any technology with human-approved labels. Worlds offer tributary status rather than risk human displeasure. The galaxy has reorganized itself around avoiding human anger. The scene shifts to Admiral Ben Storm's flagship, the UES Defiance, patrolling the former battle zones. His mixed human-alien crew operates with unusual dynamics. The alien crew members perform their duties with mechanical precision, never questioning orders, never suggesting alternatives. They've seen human tactical flexibility and concluded that opposition to human command is futile. Storm receives reports from across human space. Pirate raids have virtually ceased, not from increased security, but because criminal organizations refuse to target human vessels. Several alien governments have established human monitoring divisions, whose sole purpose is tracking human mood and preventing actions that might provoke retaliation. The narrative follows Captain Anne Sharp as she conducts routine diplomatic missions. On the trading world of New Casablanca, alien merchants compete to offer humans the best deals, not from generosity, but from fear of economic retaliation. The local governor, a multi-limbed arachnid named Web Spinner, maintains detailed files on every human visitor, noting their preferences, complaints, and emotional states. Dr. Kevin Price, Earth's leading psychologist, presents his research to the Terran Council. His findings are troubling. Alien species are developing collective PTSD from the war. Birth rates have dropped across former Alliance worlds. Art and literature have become dominated by themes of human unpredictability. Some species have begun genetic modification programs trying to make themselves more human-like, in the hope of becoming less threatening to humanity. The chapter explores the economic transformation. Human corporations don't compete for alien markets. They're offered monopolies. Entire sectors of galactic trade have been voluntarily handed over to human control. The Merchant Guild of Centauri VII disbanded rather than compete with human traders, claiming commercial warfare with humans is suicide. Political changes are equally dramatic. The Galactic Council has been restructured with humanity holding permanent veto power over all decisions. No military action can be authorized without human approval. Research into human-comparable weaponry has been banned by interspecies treaty. Captain Rose Miller visits the former Alliance capital of Andromedas Prime. The city's architecture has changed. Buildings now include human comfort zones with Earth-standard gravity and atmosphere, despite no humans requesting such accommodations. Local officials conduct regular human satisfaction surveys among the few human tourists, treating their responses like religious texts. The chapter's climax occurs during a routine trade dispute between the crystalline hegemony and the Plasma Confederation. Instead of traditional arbitration, both sides immediately request human mediation. Ambassador Blake arrives to find representatives of two of the galaxy's oldest civilizations, begging him to choose the winner of their conflict. They've forgotten how to resolve disputes without human oversight. The section reveals the emergence of human simulation centers across the galaxy, where alien military and political leaders practice responses to theoretical human actions. These facilities employ human consultants who are paid vast sums to simply think out loud, allowing aliens to study human thought processes. Captain Dave Stone reports from the Outer Rim, where human exploration crews are discovering that their reputation has preceded them to previously unknown civilizations. First contact protocols have changed. Alien species now approach human ships with surrender codes and offers of tribute, having learned about humanity through galactic communication networks. The chapter explores the prophetic human theory that has developed among several religious alien species. They believe humans were sent by cosmic forces to test galactic civilization, and that passing the human test requires absolute submission to human judgment. Some have established monasteries dedicated to studying human philosophy and behavior. Wright's research reveals the most disturbing finding. Several species have begun breeding programs designed to eliminate traits they consider anti-human. The hive queens are reducing aggressive instincts in their offspring. The warrior clans of Sparta Viatae are teaching their young to value cooperation over individual glory. Entire cultures are reshaping themselves to avoid potential human disapproval. The chapter ends with Wright presenting his conclusions to the Terran Senate. His recommendation is controversial. Humanity should consider gradually reducing its active galactic presence to allow alien civilizations to regain their confidence and independence. The response from Senator Grace Hunt is immediate. Doctor, we tried isolation before the war. The galaxy interpreted our distance as weakness and attacked us. Now they interpret our presence as strength and serve us. Which would you prefer? The Eternal Echo. 20 years after the war's end, historian Dr. Mark Wells completes his comprehensive study, The Permanent Revolution: How Humanity Reshaped Galactic Civilization. His work documents how human victory didn't just end a war. It fundamentally altered the evolution of galactic society. Wells interviews Admiral Sarah Cross, daughter of former President Cross, now commanding the UES New Horizon on humanity's first expedition beyond the galactic rim. Her mission: to explore virgin territory and avoid the complications of humanity's reputation. But even here, 50,000 light-years from the war zones, they encounter civilizations that have already heard whispered legends of the chaos bringers from the inner spiral. The narrative reveals how human influence has become self-perpetuating. Alien species that never fought in the war teach their children about human unpredictability. Cultures that have never met humans modify their behavior based on second-hand accounts. The fear has become genetic, passed down through generations like an evolutionary adaptation. On Earth, the Global Council debates the heritage question. What responsibility does humanity have for the galaxy's transformation? Philosopher Dr. Ann Miller argues that humans have become prisoners of their own victory, unable to act without considering galactic implications. Every human decision is analyzed by thousands of alien observers for hidden meanings and future threats. The story follows Captain Mike Stone, son of Rex Stone from Part 2, as he commands the first official human normalization mission, an attempt to demonstrate that humans can be ordinary, peaceful neighbors. The mission fails spectacularly when his routine scientific expedition accidentally discovers a new form of faster-than-light travel. Alien observers interpret this breakthrough as evidence of humanity's supernatural advancement, further cementing their mystical reputation. Wells documents the emergence of post-human alien civilizations, species that have evolved specifically in response to human presence. The neocrystals have developed rapid adaptation capabilities. The evolved swarm has learned to think in multiple contradictory patterns simultaneously. The transcendent voidwalkers have abandoned physical form entirely, believing it makes them less threatening to human sensibilities. The chapter explores the Human Archive Project, where alien civilizations maintain vast databases of human actions, words, and decisions, treating them as sacred texts. Every human diplomatic statement is analyzed for layers of meaning. Casual remarks by human tourists become the subject of academic conferences. The section ends with a private conversation between President Cross and Admiral Storm. Cross expresses her unease. "We didn't fight the war to become galactic dictators. We just wanted to be left alone." Storm's response is pragmatic. "Maybe, but now the galaxy won't let us be anything else. They're too afraid to make decisions without our approval." The weight of fear. Dr. Paul Wright, head of the Human-Alien Relations Institute, publishes a classified report titled The Galactic Trauma Response. His research reveals that alien civilizations are experiencing civilization-wide behavioral changes based on their interpretation of human psychology during the war. The report opens with interviews from Nexus Station, where representatives from 847 different species maintain permanent diplomatic missions to Earth. The station operates under human protocols, strict behavioral guidelines, designed to avoid actions that might be interpreted as threatening by human observers. These include restrictions on sudden movements, loud noises, and gathering in groups larger than 5 without human supervision. Wright's team studies the human mimicry syndrome, spreading through alien cultures. Young members of various species attempt to copy human behaviors, believing this will make them more successful. Goran children practice human facial expressions. Voidling youth study human literature, trying to understand the warrior mindset. Crystal-based entities attempt to replicate human emotional responses in their harmonic patterns. The narrative follows Commander Jack Baker as he investigates reports of a human cargo cult on the remote world of Kepler 186f. The local Moss people have constructed crude replicas of human weapons and vehicles from local materials. They perform daily rituals mimicking human military exercises, believing this will grant them human-like strength and tactical abilities. On Terra Nova Colony, social worker Kate Rivers documents how human children are adapting to their species' reputation. Young humans are treated like royalty by alien visitors, given gifts, and told they're naturally superior. Some develop superiority complexes, while others feel burdened by expectations they don't understand. The chapter explores the underground human resistance movements that have emerged on various worlds, not resistance against human rule, but resistance against their own species' submission to human authority. These groups argue that their civilizations have become too dependent on human approval and guidance. Dr. Wright interviews former Alliance General Claw of Honor, now living in exile on a remote asteroid. The proud warrior speaks of the psychological impact of human tactical flexibility. "We studied your wars for thousands of hours, built models of your strategies, prepared for every human response we could imagine. Then your forces did something completely different. Not better or worse, different. After the 5th time this happened, our strategists began to question their fundamental understanding of warfare itself." President Tom Cross II, grandson of Mary Cross, receives a report that epitomizes humanity's situation. A minor trade dispute between the silk merchants of Vega and the metal workers of Rigel has escalated into a potential system-wide conflict because both sides claim their position is more aligned with human values. Neither side has consulted actual humans about their preferences. The narrative follows Dr. Lisa Wong's granddaughter, Dr. Amy Wong, as she studies the inherited fear response, now observable in alien species. Creatures that have never seen humans exhibit stress responses to human voices. Some alien children are born with instinctive submission behaviors toward parental figures. Evolution itself is adapting to human presence. Captain Ben Rivers, Jr. reports from the galactic frontier, where human colony ships find that their mere approach causes established civilizations to relocate to other star systems. Entire species have become nomadic, rather than risk-sharing space with human settlers. The galaxy is reorganizing itself around human expansion routes that don't even exist yet. The climax occurs during the Galactic Centennial Conference, where representatives from 10,000 species gather to address the human question. The debate reveals the ultimate irony. Humanity has become so feared that no one dares to oppose them, but also so revered that no one wants to exist without their guidance. The galaxy has created its own cage of fear and dependence. Ambassador Jake Blake II, great-grandson of Tom Blake, delivers humanity's response to the galaxy's request for a new covenant of coexistence. His words are measured, diplomatic, carefully chosen to avoid any phrase that might be interpreted as threatening. Yet the alien delegates treat every syllable as profound wisdom, promising to build their civilizations around his casual suggestions. The story concludes with Dr. Wells' final observation. Humanity won the war so completely that peace itself became impossible. Every human action echoes through galactic civilization. Every human word becomes doctrine. Every human decision shapes the destiny of trillions of beings who dare not choose their own path. The final scene shows a human child, born on a distant colony, asking her mother why the alien children always let her choose the games they play. The mother struggles to explain that her daughter carries the genetic legacy of a species that frightened the galaxy into permanent submission simply by refusing to surrender. The last line. The war ended 20 years ago, but the galaxy still holds its breath, waiting for humanity's next move in a game only humans know they're not playing. The end.